Man, if you thought Penn State had pressure last year coming into the season expecting to compete for a national championship, Michigan won it. Ohio State won it. Penn State was next with James Franklin. Unfortunately, everything fell apart and that season went away quickly, as did Franklin and many of the players. So as we start this year, new coach Matt Campbell, who did what many thought was the impossible, who won somewhat consistently at Iowa State. Matt Campbell has a couple things in his favor. Their schedule is easy. It's nothing like the schedules that Penn State has faced in the last few years. If Penn State loses 2 games this year, that will be a lot. No, any more than that will be unforgivable. So you think, oh, the pressure's off. Matt Campbell, new coach, he'll have some freedom to do what he wants for a couple of years. Well, he brought in almost 24 players from Iowa State. So can they acclimate to Beaver Stadium and win there immediately? I don't know. Here are the pressures, though, that people may not be looking at. Penn State football funds just about everything up there, with a stadium that seats over 100,000 people and currently is going under a $700 million renovation for the West Side stands. Penn State needs to win. They need to fill that stadium to pay for expenses. After the 26-27 school year, Penn State expects to close 7 branch campuses. Many of their professors have had to go adjunct instead of full-time. So there is a lot of pressure to win that people may or may not see. Gone are Katron Allen and Nick Singleton. Those were the 2 running back studs that had been there for 4 years together. And they never really capitalized. Statistically, yes, but they never really capitalized on any championships or what they thought they might do. And that might be due to departing quarterback Drew Aller, a physical stud at 6'5", with a cannon arm, who just like Franklin just couldn't do it in the big games. And that was something the fans were tired of looking at for the last few years. And basically both Aller and Franklin have been dispatched. Now, what can they do this year with the Iowa State players, with the returning Penn State players? Well, with the schedule, again, winning 10 games is not out of the question in the Big Ten. It's going to be teams like Rutgers and Minnesota. Their home games. Marshall, they open up with. Then they go to Temple with Casey Keeler as the coach there. That won't be as easy as you think. And they host Buffalo. Now, Penn State lost 2 of their coaches to the University of South Carolina. They also lost a recruiting battle with 4-star wide receiver Lex Cyrus. Now, Cyrus doesn't figure to play yet in the sophomore year because South Carolina is loaded at receiver. But former South Carolina coach is going to be coming to Penn State with Buffalo, and he has done a great job. So South Carolina and Penn State overlap in a lot of ways this year. Then they host Wisconsin. They go to Northwestern in what is an exciting game because it will open the new stadium at Northwestern. Penn State will be the first team to play a Big Ten game there. They host USC in what might be their toughest game yet. USC seems to be deeper than they've been in a while, and they have a returning quarterback, and anytime you have that, you're in pretty good shape. They go to Michigan, and Michigan, we don't know right now how good they're going to be. They're undergoing a coaching change too. So last year, they became somewhat one-dimensional running the ball. This year, they're going to need their stellar quarterback, their $10 million man, to basically be worth the money. And right now, we don't know if that's going to happen or not. They host Purdue, who's rebuilding. They go to Washington, which is never easy. If that game were in State College, I think Penn State would have a pretty good chance. At Washington, I don't know. Then it's home against Minnesota and Rutgers, and at Maryland. So that's the Penn State schedule, which kind of looks like the ones they played in the 80s when Joe Paterno was there. They always had a lot of Eastern teams in there and not always the strongest ones. So it's going to be interesting to see if Penn State can overcome these challenges all the newness, all the financial pressure, and the pressure of a new coach. Now, Matt Campbell had coached at Iowa State where not as much was expected, and yet he delivered. If you look at his background, just like Nick Sirianno, he has a Mount Union background. Larry Cares was the coach there who won multiple or many national titles at the Division III level. So if you went to Mount Union, you were used to pressure games. If you went to Mount Union, you probably played for at least one national championship. I was up there a few years ago covering a playoff game with Muhlenberg College from Allentown. Went out and actually got off to a quick start, 14-7 lead. And those in the press box at Mount Union were very respectful, very kind. And even though they fell behind, there was like no panic. You could tell that they were being gracious hosts and they expected to win. And that's exactly why James Franklin's not there anymore at Penn State. And that's exactly why they think Matt Campbell will win the big games. If you look at a top 25 comparison, Campbell was 16-27 at Iowa State. Franklin, 15-28, pretty similar. And give Franklin a little credit there. He was going against Ohio State and Michigan every year for a while there. Top 10 opponents. Here's where it's vastly different. Iowa State and Matt Campbell, 4-6. Not bad, decent. You're not going to win a lot of games against the top 10. James Franklin, 4-21. So you don't think Penn State's going to allow a coach to last too long when they can't win the big game. However, Franklin every year was winning 9-10 games, usually had a good bowl game or the occasional playoff appearance, especially now that they might go to 24 teams. But my question is, what can Matt Campbell do with Penn State's recruiting?
Artlist.io.
Stadium, about 110,000 people, with a rabid fan base and a weak schedule. I think everything is in place there to probably have a playoff appearance as long as everything goes well, and then they're going to build from there. Then it's going to slowly transition from really
music licensing reimagined
with more of his players than just James Franklin. Some of them are still there, and Franklin has already acquitted himself and made himself into a great recruiter and brought in several big-timers from all over the nation, which was always Franklin's strength, was bringing in great players and recruiting. Was it Franklin? Was it the stadium? Was it the history? What was it? But, it was a weird transition when Jopa left, and Bill O'Brien did a great job getting them back to level standing. And then Franklin came in from Vanderbilt, where he had won some games there and done a nice job there. And he's won consistently, a la Frank Solich at Nebraska. But winning 9 games a year some places isn't going to get it done. And Penn State is one of those places. So my prediction, I think Matt Campbell will have a good season this year. And after that, give him 2 or 3 years to bring his players, his type of guys in there to build his culture and for everything to settle. And will he be able to win a championship like the Mount Union teams did so often in Ohio at the